It's a START treaty. The Republicans, led by John Kyle, basically said, no, we're not going to give you the START treaty. Now, the START treaty reduces our stockpile of nuclear weapons, but it's a treaty with the Russians, and that means they also reduce their stockpile. Plus, on top of that, we get to verify that they're reducing it, and we get to check in on their nuclear program. It is enormously important for national security. Look, one of the things that we should be most concerned about is whether terrorists get their hands on nukes. There's no more serious national security issue. It is, in my opinion, the national security issue. And what would help is if we were able to keep an eye on the Russian stockpile. And because the Republicans are going to block this, we won't be able to. Now, we did this on the MSNBC show. That's on at 3 o'clock Eastern every day. You can check that out through November. And we had Josh Trevino, who's a guy I like, who's a conservative, but I think he's an honest guy, et cetera. And we were debating whether the Republicans had any valid reason to block this treaty. And you know me, if they come up with a good point, I am the most open-minded man in America. But seriously, I would very much consider it. There are no good points on this. He's talking about, oh, well, now, we need to be able to do missile defense tests. We do plenty of that, and the treaty would still allow for plenty of that. That ain't the problem. Look, I've talked about this before. Of course, the main thing is they just want to block Obama, right? And they want to say, ha, you didn't get your foreign policy victory, and we don't give a damn what happens about national security because we're Republicans, and all we care about is politics. And there's no way I'm backing away from that. That is 99.8% of the explanation. The only other 0.2% of the explanation that's possible is that they actually want to build more nukes because the Republican Party gets financed by the defense contractors that build nukes. Okay? So they still can make a lot of money. But there is no part of this treaty where you could make a legitimate argument saying that it's not a good treaty. No way, no how. To give you a sense of it, the Republicans that are out of office, like every former Republican Secretary of State is saying, for the love of God, pass the treaty, okay? Richard Lugar, who's the one guy in foreign policy that I've always thought was good on the Republican side. I've been saying that for 8 years now, to some people's annoyance. And he's coming out and saying, oh, come on. We got to pass the treaty. This is crazy. But the Republicans don't give a damn. Look, I guess people think this is like wow. Like if I say it on TV, and which I did today, they're like, whoa, wow, how can you say, whoa. No. They're politicians. Look, Democrats do this too in other contexts. But in this case, the Republicans, you think they care about the policy? Come on. Please don't tell me you're that naive. You think they care about, oh, no, there's a national security issue. We better make sure we got the loose nukes under control. No. All they care about is the politics and the campaign contributions. They're not honest actors. Stop treating the politicians with all this reverence. They should have no reverence. They certainly don't deserve it. And what the Republicans did today, it's loathsome. Loathsome. There's one other thing, by the way. There's another angle to this. Can they really stop the START treaty altogether? I don't think so, right? I think in the long run, they're going to give in anyway, right? But it's not that they're going to give in. Now, right now, they only have 41 senators. They're going to get 6 more senators after the next year. And they're delaying the vote, right? So they're saying we're going to have it the year after. Now, if they do that, then they're going to come to Obama because you need 2/3 to ratify the treaty. He can't do it with just the Democratic senators. It's even more of a higher standard than a filibuster, right? So then Obama's going to need, I think, 14 Republicans to vote with him next year. So then John Kyle and others are going to come by and go, all right, we'll vote for the START treaty if you give us what we want. And then they're going to ask for a king's ransom. Again, would you ask for a king's ransom if, you cared about national security? No, but if you wanted to hold national security hostage so you can get your goodies, well, then I would make you a politician. And that apparently is almost the entire Republican Party. Dick Lugar is a definite exception, senator from Indiana in this case. Now, there is some good news here. President Obama, the White House right now is signaling we're going to hold a vote anyway, okay? Which I think would be great. Now, let's see if they follow through on that. But basically, they're going to put the Republicans on the spot and say, really? Okay, we're going to call your bluff. Go ahead and vote against the START treaty. And then we'll take it to the American people. Now, look, I'm doing this based on experience. My guess is that even if the Democrats did that they wouldn't have good follow-through. Like, if you do that, and I love it, and I hope they do it, you have to follow through and then beat them up in the press and be like, oh, the Republicans who don't care about national security, the Republicans who are endangering our security, the Republicans that are allowing loose nukes on the thing. Now, do you think Obama's got the guts and the ability to do that? I hope so, and it's a good sign that he's saying that they're going to hold a vote. I would be surprised, but Mr. President, let's go up and at him. This is how politics works. If they're going to screw you on this for political reasons, you better fight back. You're on excellent policy ground here, and I'm sure a great majority of Americans would agree with the president on this issue. Well, if you don't take it to them on this, well, you ain't ever going to take it to them.